Good morning. Welcome to practical class of igneous pathology. Today we are going to calculate, or you can say first discuss the calculation of CIPW norm. The CIPW is after four American pathologists, Cross, Eading, Persian and Washington. These four American pathologists in 1904 gave the classification of igneous rocks on the basis of norm, or that is known as CIPW norm classification. Now this norm means these four pathologists, they design set of rules on the basis of which the normative minerals are calculated from the chemical composition of the rock by a set of rules. So this means in the practical you will be given a norm sheet on which the weight percent oxide data of a rock will be given, and from that weight percent oxide data you have to calculate the normative minerals. Now for this, the first step is that you can see in your norm sheet that first step is that your the 8% data, yes, will be converted into molecular proportion by dividing each oxide with its molecular weight. Now first oxide that is written is your SiO2. Below SiO2 there is a column where you have to write the weight percent oxide data that is given. Say for example SiO2 in a rock is 65. So we will write 65. Beneath is its molecular weight. So you will divide that 65 with 60 and you will get a molecular proportion that you will write in the beneath column. So the topmost column is the name of the oxides. This is the name of the oxides. Then it's the percentage of you can say the weight percent oxide data that will be given. You will write it and divide by molecular weights that are given, and beneath that is your the molecular proportion you have to calculate. So for all these major oxide, a rock naturally which has been chemically analyzed, its weight percent, or you can say the major element or major you can say the oxide data will be given in the major element in the form of the oxides will be given, and you will divide it by its molecular weight to get the molecular proportion. Right, this is the first step. Convert the weight percent oxide data into molecular proportion by dividing each oxide with its molecular weight. Then next step, you will start forming the different minerals. In the norm sheet you just see it that the mineral which is written at the bottom, that is your apatite. Now in the formation of apatite you need P2O5 and CaO, and the molecular proportion of P2O5 and CaO is P2O5.3 CaO. Means allot P2O5 with 3 times of CaO to form apatite. So vertically down below P2O5 you write, because that will be lesser amount, you will write whatever the molecular proportion of P2O5 is available, then multiply it with 3, that you write below your that CaO column. CaO column you can see it after MgO, so that below this is P2O5 as such, this is 3 times P2O5 and in front of your apatite. Alright, like this you will be in a position, because the molecular proportions in apatite is 1 mole of P2O5 and 3 moles of CaO. So vertically down P2O5 you will take as such P2O5, because generally it is less than P2O5 CaO as such, and multiply it by 3 times, then write in the column vertically down CaO 3 times P2O5 amount, and that will come in front of your apatite. So the apatite has been formed. After apatite, next mineral you can see is ilmenite. Now again in ilmenite, the molecular proportion of FeO dot TiO2 means 50% FeO, 50% TiO2, that is 1:1. So TiO2, below TiO2, write the amount of TiO2 as such, and below FeO write the amount of FeO as equal to that of TiO2, and form in front of ilmenite, you form the ilmenite molecule. Because this, if TiO2 is more, it's very rare, but even if TiO2 is more, then take FeO equal to TiO2, and rest TiO2 will be calculated as titanite as such, another mineral that is not in the norm sheet. But if it is there, then you just take lesser amount of FeO that is available and equal amount of TiO2 and form the ilmenite, and rest will be calculated titanite. But generally TiO2 is less, so you will have enough FeO left after formation of the ilmenite. Then the next mineral is your hematite. Now hematite as such, you all know that the composition of hematite is Fe2O3. Now Fe2O3 means, as such, whatever the amount of Fe2O3 is there, you just take it and form this a hematite. Then magnetite. Magnetite is Fe3O4, in mole form it is FeO dot Fe2O3. So as such, you take the left amount of Fe2O3 and equal amount of FeO and form your magnetite. After formation of magnetite, you come down to orthoclase. Orthoclase is below the quartz, next second mineral, quartz, and the composition of your orthoclase is 1 mole of K2O, 1 mole of Al2O3 and 6 moles of SiO2. Right, in short, we write the chemical formula as KAlSi3O8. In mole form, it will be K2O dot Al2O3 dot 6 SiO2. So K2O, take the amount K2O given to you in the molecular proportion below the K2O, right, below the K2O, and equal amount of Al2O3 and 6 times SiO2, and write these compositions this in front of your orthoclase. So you will form the orthoclase. After orthoclase, next mineral is your albite. Same way albite, 1 mole of Na2O, 1 mole of Al2O3 and 6 moles of SiO2. 6 moles of SiO2. So take the Na2O, an equal amount of Al2O3 from Al2O3 and 6 times SiO2, your anorthite is formed. After formation of your albite, after formation of your albite, next mineral that you will form will be the anorthite, and anorthite will be is 1 mole of CaO, 1 mole of Al2O3 and 2 moles of SiO2. In this case, you will take the left remaining Al2O3, which because Al2O3 has been utilized in the formation of your orthoclase and albite, the left means you will add allotted Al2O3 to these two minerals, and you will subtract it from the original that was given, the molecular proportion. So that balance Al2O3 you will take into consideration for formation of anorthite with equal amount of CaO and 2 times of SiO2. Right? So you will form the anorthite. After anorthite, it is diopside. Now in diopside, you know that 50% part is of CaO and the rest is 50% is of MgO plus FeO. So the CaO is equal to, in the sense you can say, MgO plus FeO. So either MgO or FeO alone are present, diopside will form, but CaO is must, because half part is of CaO. The rest half can be totally of MgO, can be of FeO. So you can see in the norm sheet, here it is. The norm sheet here, the diopside means that is your 50%. Your CaO and 50% is your MgO plus FeO. So allot MgO and FeO in proportion to CaO and form your diopside. Now after diopside, the story or you can say the further course of action will be, you have to see the balance, means left silica and left MgO plus FeO. So there will be three, you can say, lines of action or formation of the normative minerals. When SiO2 is greater than MgO plus FeO, means hypersthene, the rock will be hypersthene plus quartz normative. What is the case? That after formation of diopside, you have to check the balance SiO2 and MgO plus FeO. And if you find that SiO2 is greater than MgO plus FeO, that is will be the first case. In that case, it means that further you will form hypersthene and quartz. But if SiO2 is less than MgO plus FeO, again, or then you can say there will be further two cases. If twice silica, means left silica, if you multiply it by 2, is more than MgO plus FeO, then hypersthene and olivine will form. Means that rock will be hypersthene plus olivine normative. And the third case is that even after doubling, or you can say twice SiO2 is less than MgO plus FeO, in that case the rock will be olivine plus naphthalene normative. So you have to decide after diopside that further normative minerals, either hypersthene quartz will form, or that the second case can hypersthene olivine will form, or the third case olivine plus naphthalene will form. So there will be three different tracks, and you have to decide by computing the balance silica, MgO and FeO, that further out of these three, which normative the rock will be. Once again I repeat, if Si2 left is greater than left MgO and FeO, then the rock will be hypersthene quartz normative. But if it is less, then after doubling SiO2, means after twice SiO2 is greater than MgO and FeO, the rock will be hypersthene olivine normative. But if twice SiO2 is less than MgO plus FeO, the rock will be olivine naphthalene normative. So you have to decide just after diopside that further normative minerals will form. Once you have decided that hypersthene and quartz will form, then simply allot the remaining MgO and FeO with equal amount of your SiO2 and form your hypersthene, right? And the balance SiO2 left will be calculated as quartz. So it's very simple. In the first case, when it is that SiO2 is greater than MgO plus FeO, in that case you will form hypersthene quartz, and for hypersthene you will just allot left MgO and FeO to hypersthene with equal amount of SiO2, and after allotment to hypersthene, the left out SiO2 will be calculated as quartz. So in the first case, if it is hypersthene quartz normative, your formation of normative minerals is complete. In the second case, if SiO2 is less than MgO plus FeO, but twice SiO2 is more than MgO FeO, in that case hypersthene and olivine will form. In this case, to calculate the number of hypersthene molecule, you have to double the SiO2, means twice SiO2 minus MgO plus FeO. By this equation or by this formula, you will come out you will just calculate the number of hypersthene molecules that are going to form. Say twice 2s minus n means Mg plus FeO equal to x. Right. Now, then you will allot the MgO and FeO to to hypersthene in their proportion. For allotting to MgO, it will be MgO plus FeO into x. X means the number of hypersthene molecule. So you will even allot MgO and FeO in their proportion to your hypersthene, and that will be decided by the calculation of number of hypersthene molecule, and hypersthene molecules are calculated by 2s minus n, means twice silica minus MgO plus FeO. right? After allotment of MgO and FeO to iapostine, the remaining FeO and MgO will be allotted to olivine with half the amount of silica. Mind it, here it is half, because if you see in your that norm sheet, that is the norm sheet. If it is olivine, it is MgO, twice MgO dot SiO2. So 1 MgO equals to half SiO2. So here it is with half amount of silica. So after allotment of MgO and FeO with half the amount silica to olivine, your formation of normative minerals is complete in the second case. Now third case may be that twice silica is less than MgO plus FeO. After diapside, if you come to know that twice, after doubling the silica, even it is less than MgO plus FeO, the rock is going to be olivine plus naphthalene normative. In that case, you have to break the already formed albite molecule, because Na2 is utilized in formation of your albite and the naphthalene. So because the rock is silica poor, and in that case you have to give proportionate amount of Na2O to albite and naphthalene, and for that you just rub, because your norm sheet you will calculate or you will work with pencil. So break means you rub the already formed albite molecule. Then with a formula S minus 2n by 4, where S is silica and 2n means your Na2O total, right? So with n divided by 4, with this you will come to an amount of number of albite molecules that you are going to form. So once it is decided that X number of albite molecules are formed, you allot that X amount of your Na2O to this naphthalene with equal amount of Al2O3 and 2 times SiO2. So here once again I repeat, the number of albite molecules are decided by S minus 2n by 4. S is total silica, silica left after diapside, minus n means now it is total Na2O, and divided by 4, you will come with the value, say it is X. So that X amount of Na2O you will allot to albite, and in albite you know it is 1 mole of Na2O, 1 mole of Al2O3, 6 moles of SiO2. So you will form your albite. Now the remaining Na2O you will allot to your naphthalene. Naphthalene composition, if you see it here, it is Na2O dot Al2O3 dot 2 SiO2, means twice. So that silica is, you can say, compensated, or you can say that is there. So you allot that amount to your naphthalene, and before computing this number of albite molecules, because olivine will also form, so you just simply allot MgO and FeO to olivine with half amount of the silica. So in the third case, once again I repeat that after formation of diapside, if you come to know that left silica after diapside, after doubling it, twice silica is even less than MgO plus FeO, in that case the rock will be olivine plus naphthalene normative, and for that you allot MgO and FeO after diapside, left MgO and FeO after diapside to olivine with half amount of the silica. Olivine will form, and after that you calculate the amount of albite, means Na2O to be given to albite by the formula S minus 2n by 4. With that you will come up to an equation. With this equation will come to an point where the amount of Na2O will be decided, which has to be given to albite with equal amount of Al2O3 and 6 times of SiO2. The rest Na2O will be allotted to naphthalene with equal amount of Al2O3 and 2 times SiO2. So this completes the formation of your different, say, normative minerals. After that, what you are going to do is that you will take the molecular proportion of the formed minerals, because there is a column here. In this column it is the molecular proportion, say SiO2 is the column, and then you have to multiply it by the molecular weight. The molecular weight of that is your 60 for second silica case. So whatever the molecular proportion comes, you multiply by 60, you will get the percentage, means percentage of that mineral. For all you will be doing this, means molecular proportions in the sheet, the molecular weights are given. So whatever the molecular proportion comes for that mineral, that you will be doing and computing the percentage of your normative minerals. After that you will add these all in normative minerals. There are two categories, cellic and phemic minerals. Cellic minerals are those which do not have iron and magnesium in their composition and include your quartz, orthoclase, albite, anorthite, nepheline, lucite, chalcophyllite, corundum. So these are your cellic minerals. Total them percentages you will get after multiplying molecular proportion by the molecular weight, and you will get the percentage. Add these percentages, you will come to the amount of the cellic minerals. Similarly, this is for phemic minerals. Phemic are those which have iron and magnesium in their composition. You just multiply the molecular proportion by the molecular weight, you will get the percentage, then add the percentage of phemic minerals. So you will come to that what is the percentage of cellic minerals and what is the percentage of mafic minerals. And the classification of igneous rock is on the basis of cellic upon phemic ratio. This is the class where you have to come to that class, that cellic upon phemic ratio. What is the cellic upon phemic ratio? Means after adding all cellic minerals and phemic minerals, you will divide the cellic group percentage by the phemic group percentage, and you will come to some fraction, and on that basis your rocks, you all know that's on the basis of CIP norm classification. Per cellic rocks are those which have this cellic upon phemic ratio more than 7. So if this fraction comes as more than 7, means the rocks are of the category or the class per cellic. If it is 7 to 1.66, docellic, 1.66 to 0.60, cell-phemic, and if it is from 0.60 to 0.14, dophemic, and if the ratio is less than 0.14, then the rocks are perphemic. So you will have to calculate the class of the rock on the basis of CIPW norm, and the class is calculated by dividing cellic minerals by phemic, and you will get some ratio, and on the basis of this ratio, your rocks are classified into 5 categories: percellic, docellic, cell-phemic, dophemic and perphemic. And then the values of these, say you come to that the ratio comes around 1.70. 1.70 means the rock is cell-phemic. This is the class of the rock. So you will ultimately have to compute or diagnose the class of the rock on the basis of cellic upon phemic ratio. This is all about the calculation of CIPW norm. The practice will naturally, you will have problem when you will calculate, but if you practice 3-4 exercises, it will be very simple and it will be easy to understand for this. So in next practical class, I will give exercise of a rock which has the chemical composition. From that we will calculate the CIPW norm, and after computing the normative minerals, we will decide that CIPW, that classification, the class of that rock. Thank you very much. That's all for today. Thank you.